What if burnout wasn't a problem to fix, but a signal guiding you toward deeper alignment with life? The Practice Podcast invites you to explore how aligning with your energy can transform your connection to yourself, your relationships, and your work. Through real stories, data-driven insights, and life-centered tools, each episode helps you tune into your body's signals and create life-affirming change from the inside out. Welcome to the Practice Podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Practice Podcast. I'm Jessica Corbin.
I'm Christy Brito.
And this is the show where we bring you into our data and our lives, frankly. The data is a portal into many, many different dimensions of our lives. And we are doing this because we believe that there is a better way to live and lead and build, one that is what we would say is energetically literate. And the data is the place where we begin. So that is what the podcast is about. And we don't really know what each other is going to share.
No, we don't.
Completely. And although we've been living with each other, you know, and this is a bi-weekly pod. So there's been a lot of life that's been lived in the last 2 weeks between us.
I know. It's almost this morning or on podcast days, I'm not even talking to you much.
Right.
Because I'm like, I think we should revel that.
Like we were down in the kitchen and there was like donuts and we were just like looking at each other, just eating like little healthy donuts. But not going into it because we want to keep it. We want to save it for these moments.
So if you haven't watched episodes 1, 2, and 3, go watch them. This will all make a lot more sense.
It's been a journey so far, and it certainly has not ended. I think we are reaching an apex of the journey right now, where I think people would call it chaos.
Yes.
Yes?
Mashed bananas, blenders, all of the things going on. A banana blender.
A banana blender.
For me.
Yeah, because, well, I don't want to take anything away. Would you like to start today? Would you like me to start today?
You start today.
We've done it all the ways.
You start today.
Okay.
Because the last time we recorded, you were quote unquote a bit like scrambled eggs, and I have no idea what I'm going to get into today. Yeah, I'm scared and excited. I have no idea.
Okay, great. Okay. Last week, I made a commitment at the end of the pod where I was going to be more consistent in being visible. I had experienced an edge the prior week that revealed itself around our launch. We are in the middle of a launch, and I have a fear that like we won't find our people in time. It's not that what we have built isn't
viable,
but when you are two, scrappy ladies endeavoring towards changing the world
I know.
in a way that's very novel, sometimes it's just hard to find your people. This podcast is one of the main avenues by which we're trying to find our people. And so the message that I was getting was stay visible, even though it felt vulnerable. I don't really like to share my business, my personal business, although I want people in my business. I want people in my actual business. And I live a life now where I have to acknowledge that, things aren't siloed. Of course, I don't have to share every little detail.
Yeah, there's oversharing too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just, social media is a weird thing. So I did commit, though, to making 4 posts before this podcast, and I can say that I did it.
Yeah.
I did it. Did you see it?
I've seen all your posts.
Okay. Did it feel like more?
It felt, yes.
Did it feel different?
It felt consistent. Yeah. And now that I'm reflecting, I wasn't anticipating this question, but now I loved the story post that you did of where you're getting your information.
Right.
Is it Google? Is it?
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, this.
Yeah.
So yeah, now that I think back about it, I'm like, there she is.
Okay.
There she is. Oh, there she is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it feel awkward?
No.
Okay.
Not
Did it
at
feel
all.
honest?
Very.
Okay.
You never feel awkward or honest to me.
I never
ever.
feel awkward or honest.
You never feel awkward or dishonest
Uh-huh.
ever.
Okay.
To me.
Yeah.
those two things don't come up.
Did it feel, because the truth is I just posted 4 stories on Instagram and like, that's a stretch for me. That's a stretch.
No, I think it felt to me honest, kind of completely perfect for who you are. Just kind of peeking in, putting in some inquiry questions that didn't feel like just an affirmation that people share.
Did it feel like I am letting people in enough? Or do I feel
enough? Yes.
Enough.
Yeah, enough. I think that's your sweet spot.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think you're gonna be, here's my smoothie and here's my thing. And I don't think that's your function. I don't think that's your path. I just don't.
Do you think that me being visible helps us at source?
Yes, I do. I think that you being visible in other ways is going to help us even more than those posts.
Yeah.
Even though I think those posts are great. I really believe, right now, I think what we need more than anything is visibility and marketing. And it's still something that I feel like we can't catch up on at the moment. It just can't catch up on it. There's no way that I'm getting there, no matter what we're doing, because we're so committed to serving our people. Truly, though. We deeply care about our launches and that the marketing still falls behind. But I would like you source us to be more visible as it relates to kind of conferences and speaking engagements. I'm really excited about the immersion that we're creating at Source and all of these things. I do think you staying visible like you are is stepping stones towards what is actually necessary.
The only little proof point that I got that it kind of helped us was the amount of people that signed up for class.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It's the only thing that was different.
That's true. That
we got more people. We do a weekly class where people can experience energetic literacy in motion. It's called Source Flow. It's right here in Venice. If you're ever in the area, sign up. Come. It's donation-based. It's awesome. But that's the only thing where I was like,
Yeah, so much so that I had to sign up myself. I was like, I got to sign up myself because there's not going to be room for me in our own class. Yeah, that's true.
It's the only
Good
thing.
job.
Yeah.
Good
so
job.
I kept my commitment.
Yep.
And then my energy status today is a Recover Day. And it is the second Recover Day in a row. And when I look back at my data in preparation for our drop-in today, I can see that I've actually this whole month it's been a push trend month, even with the countless things that we've had on our plate.
Good job.
I've somehow just leveraged the challenge to grow capacity, but I'm hitting the edge. I'm hitting the edge with it. The last 3 days, it has been a recover trend. So a lot of times we'll talk about how we cycle our energy. And in the practice membership, you get to see, how much time am I spending in push? How much time am I spending in maintain? How much time am I spending in recover? This month, in general, I spend about 30% in push. This month, I spent 51% in push.
Whoa.
Yeah. So there was just something interesting happening. And you guys, it was a lot. This last month has been probably more intense than we've experienced for a while. And it isn't just work that was happening. It was, I'm going to go into the edges because there were plenty of edges that I experienced.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. Welcome to the eccentric
Welcome to
Aunt
Auntie
podcast.
Jess.
Auntie Jess is now talking to you. So the edges for me this last week, there's been 3. And, I have this process in preparation where I write everything down and I thematically, I see something happening with me. Something is happening with me.
Is it?
Edges are highlighting something happening. Yeah. And it's all good. It's all good.
So all 3 you're seeing a theme.
There's a theme here.
Okay.
So the first one, the first thing that happened when we talk about our edges, it's a lot of times we see them in our data. What's interesting this time, though, I didn't see the edges totally in the data yet. Anyway, edge number 1, Frankie getting eye surgery that anytime something is in my care, I get very overly responsible for it. And I get very nervous that I get a bit of a perfectionism complex with it. There's something that pains me to know that if I did something wrong, something has to suffer more. Like I just I can't handle it.
No.
So I get a lot hyper vigilant on that. So she has her eye surgery. I get really emotionally responsible. And I almost get even more enmeshed. And I don't think it's helpful. I don't think it's helpful that this happens. Edge number 2, because I'm going through the adoption with the dog and we're housebreaking her and she's, going through healing with her eye surgery. And my husband decides to go on vacation. And so we have our launch. He decides to go snowboarding.
We have 2 launches.
We have 2 launches, been working, I don't know, years
on them.
And he's like, I'm out. And I'm like, what? But the whole dog thing was a surprise. This vacation was on the calendar. And I do not begrudge him for filling up his cup because that man works his ass off. And I want him to fill up his cup. But I was in a spot. I was in an emotional spot. I was not feeling like I was in my center. I felt like, and he's my anchor. And he left. So now I am overwhelmed. And he's gone. And not only was he physically gone, I actually felt him emotionally gone, which is really hard. In his mind, if you ask him, and I'm sure many, many men, he's like, I was thinking about you guys the whole time.
The whole time.
Thinking about you guys the whole time. I'm here.
No.
I'm here. But the thing is that I was just getting like these little teeny tiny check-ins within 60-second windows. Hey, how's everything going over there? And meanwhile, we're launching this big thing and I got Conehead in the background, ripping up a yoga mat as I'm trying to present. Like, I am not doing well. And he's like, well, you'll figure it out. It's all good. It's cool. I love you. Bye.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, this isn't helpful.
Yeah.
And then I'm telling him I have to switch doctors because I don't like the type of care that Frankie is getting because I'm getting a little cuckoo banana on the hyper vigilant part.
But also there's doctors that just, we go through this with kids all the time. It's just you got to cut it.
You got to
go to a new one.
I didn't like it. I got to cut it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just needed my man to presence me. I needed him to ground me and presence me. And I know that he wasn't there. So what did I want? What did I really want? I had to ask myself that. What do you really want, Jess, from this man? I wanted him to call me and I want him to validate. Hey, babe, I hear it in your voice. I can tell that you're a little out of sorts. Let's carve out 30 minutes by which we can just drop in with each other. I'll crack a beer. We'll talk about it. You can tell me all the information. I think I just wanted that. I wanted that type of conscious, concerted container. I wanted a container. The truth is that in my days, I'm holding containers all day long for people. And I don't ask for much. I have my go-tos that hold. And I needed that. And I just felt a bit abandoned. So that was edge number 2. And then the edge number 3, and there's a theme. And as I share this, I just want you to know that this isn't about you.
I'm
this
working
is about
on
me.
It with Laurel.
Okay, this
I'm
isn't
ready.
about.
I am ready to allow people to have their experiences without it being my fault. I don't know how many times I had to repeat that.
Then there was this other setup. And you guys, I'm holding this like as in laughter now because it becomes comical if you can read the tea leaves correctly. And we have, Christy is, I think you're going to share maybe a little bit more about your move.
I think so.
The
today.
Potential move.
Yeah.
There's Christy's been talking about how she might be moving her family. And I'm in full support of her doing whatever she has to do for her family. Christy and I are also co-parenting this company Source. And her moving has, has an impact, has ripple effects, and it has an emotional, I have an emotional experience with it, my own emotional experience, even though I'm in full support. So it got brought up out of the blue on a call.
And to your credit, it wasn't brought up appropriately with the space and time that it needed. I say things oftentimes in my life very casually and then just put my foot in my mouth of like, yep, I'm moving to Boise. And it's just, she's over there on the screen just feeling very shocked by this news. So continue.
And it's just that feeling of like when I started to show how I was feeling, I felt Kristi shutting down. And that was alarming for me because emotional disconnection is really hard. Yeah, it's hard for me when people disconnect and I feel abandoned. And so I have this pattern. The edges of the month just showcase like this pattern of like, God, there's something deep within my psyche that feels incredibly afraid of abandonment and not being able to be in my emotional experience. And the only way that I can be connected with somebody is if I actually don't show them how I'm feeling. That's the misunderstanding, that like if the only way I can be connected to a person is if I fake or I lie or I squelch or I repress what I'm actually going through. And that is harmful to me. And I know it. And so there was just like thematically my work, my curriculum. And the thing is that I got to these, I'm pulling up my notes because I looked at these edges and it was Frankie's eye surgery. It was Andy leaving. It was conversations with Kristi about moving. These were my edges. And when I put these fears into chat. So I put all these fears.
This is amazing.
I put all these fears into chat and I said, tell me what the common thread is with these fears. Because sometimes, it's hard to get objective on yourself. You're in the soup, man.
Yep.
You're in the fucking Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
You're drinking it. You are it. You're drinking it and you are it. It's hard. So I put it into chat, which is, might be a good idea. It might not be, but here's what chat said. Yes, there's a common thread running through these fears, a fear of disconnection and its consequences. Whether it's someone you love pulling away, feeling like you've failed to support them properly, or losing trust in your ability to navigate challenges together. Each fear touches on the theme of responsibility and emotional safety. The worry that Kristi will shut down reflects a fear, because what it started to feel like is all this might just be too much.
Yeah, for me, that I would go away.
And you would just shut down.
Because you're not wrong, and that isn't a incorrect assessment of my personality.
Okay.
It's never happened with you.
Right.
And the people but that's not an incorrect assessment of my personality. Sometimes I am a poof.
Yeah.
Irish goodbyes
so hard.
So hard.
So hard.
So, and I'm a Sagittarius too. We're non-committal and we're a little bit like, hi.
Yeah.
But you don't get me very long.
Right.
Bye. But we have a very different relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. So it said the worry that Kristi will shut down reflects a fear that what you are offering or doing is overwhelming, leading to retreat rather than engagement. And then the concern about Frankie's recovery suggests a deep sense of responsibility for someone else's well-being and the fear that past actions may have caused harm. Yeah.
Totally.
And then the fear around your husband emotionally disappearing speaks to the pain of disconnection when facing challenges and the longing for consistent presence and support. All of these point to a core wound or a sensitivity around emotional abandonment, relational trust, and the weight of responsibility for others' experiences. Does that resonate?
Does that resonate?
I was like,
oh my God,
chat. Yeah.
I mean, Laurel would have told you that too. Chat, Laurel,
right.
Like an objective view of that.
Right.
I know you so well that something really lit up inside of me of where that comes from.
Totally.
And I don't know about specifics on that now. I mean, we've gotten into some of it in prior episodes of the podcast.
Yeah.
But wow, that's very clear.
And so I said, well, what should I do about it? I asked Chad.
Ooh.
And its advice was create an emotional safety anchor for yourself. When fear of disconnection arises, have a practice that helps you reconnect to yourself first so you don't seek external validation to soothe the anxiety. This could be journaling, write down what you're afraid of, and then what your wisest self would say in response. Movement, shake out tension, dance, go for a walk, release the stuck emotions, and breathe. Use the breath to return to coherence. And the good news is that these are practices that I fully embrace. So
maybe there's a new anchor too that can arise over the next couple weeks. Something that you're not already doing, I wonder. I don't know. I'm just playing around here because you do those things so well. The all three of those things.
The thing about the core wound stuff, though, it's like you revisit it again and again and again and
it's
again.
So annoying.
And again, at a deeper cut and a deeper cut. And I think the biggest difference is that I actually trust the process now. So there isn't like, I just trust myself to squirt out the other side of whatever this cycle of it is. And it's just, but yes, are there other anchors that I can introduce? I mean, listen, the reason why I think the practice exists is because it's my medicine,
That's
man.
True. That's
it's
true.
my medicine. The practice is coming back, to what is and touching into whatever is here with compassion and care. Like that is the practice. And then how can we do this with each other? How can we do this with our work? I mean,
100%.
Literally the practice has been
created
born out of this wound.
100%.
And that's why they a lot of times say, your purpose is in the pain.
Totally.
And I know that like this is, my purpose. And I got an interesting comment, not interesting, whatever. My mom, she watched the podcast. If you're watching this, hi mom, I love you so much. But she was like, I watched the first episode, and it was interesting when you're like, you looked at your data and you're like, I don't know why this is happening. She's like, but you're supposed to be the expert. Can you say I don't know why this is happening if you're the expert? It's a really good question.
It's a good question. I find it funny. I love you, Lindy. But I find it funny because when you reveal yourself in those ways, it makes you and our company a lot more credible. I'm so annoyed and frankly quite sick of people hot airing answers just to have confirmation. And right, and yep, and we know, right? And say it with conviction. Jess, convict you. You doing that and going, I don't know. I don't know what is going on in my data doesn't mean that you're not curious about it. Just because you don't have the answer now, that means that you're exploring what is. And everything that we do at Source is about self-discovery. Everything that we do at Source. One of the best things that I think our company hones in on is exploring more questions than answers for you to find your own rhythm, your own answers. And I just found it funny that to me, when I hear that, like, damn, she's the real deal. She's not trying to say, and this is why, and this is why, and this.
And listen, when I can't, there's a lot of people out there that are like, Jessica's a bossy little lady.
Yeah,
like
she knows.
She likes to think that she knows.
And don't piss her off.
And that's true. When I do feel convicted, or I feel like there is a 1, 2, 3 to something, or I have clarity about something,
Absolutely.
I will stand in that.
Absolutely.
So let's button this up now with my commitment then for next week.
Especially coming off of a double recover. And things that you're learning now.
And I'm telling you, I was housebound with the dog too. So this movement part feels particularly important.
It is. It shows up with you every wintering too. You remember when we talked about the wintering, how you thought you'd get this?
Yeah.
I always think of you like Raph too. The motion, the movement, the kind of electricity of life and things happening really enriches you.
Yeah, I want to be. I want 2 movement practices. Like it could be ecstatic dance.
Yeah.
It could be, I don't know. Just
Can you add the dancing in the source flow again? Not the dancing, but
the shaking.
Everyone loves it.
Okay.
It was unanimous, and I think it needs to be every class.
Okay.
I need it. It was so, people just wanted to keep going.
Yeah, I know. It feels so good.
It's so good.
I just need to shake more.
Yeah.
So I just need that. And then I will be mindful of when I'm feeling just overly grabby to just really do the journaling part of like, what is it that why am I clinging? What's happening? And then go direct.
Yeah.
You know, so the journaling, I'm going to journal when I get clingy, and I'm going to move my body in a non-linear way twice.
Nice.
Yes.
Those are clear.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm done.
Mine's going to be rather short this week.
You think so?
I think so. And then we see. The commitment from last time we met was to lay out in space of what is undeniably wanting to happen within my life.
Yes.
And the tectonics of what's going on between me moving and our company here, and the shift of my motherhood season into jerseys and homework and helping with homework. And there's this entire new layer of motherhood that's entered the chat that I'm obsessed with. I am just 100% obsessed with now, today. This changes a lot. And so I did that. I spent time talking about this with my husband. I got my coach back online. Her name is Laurel Lewis. Shout out. I love you. Wow.
Living angel.
And also just laser. The angel part is there, but she calls you forward in a way that you're like, oh shit, here we go. So I'm enrolled. I know. I'm always like, she's so sweet. And then I'm like, she's not sweet. She's
sweet and fierce. Yeah.
I have been living this inquiry of how can I design my life so that I don't abandon the things that I love. And right now, there's a few things that are coming up that I love a lot. And the clarity that I have, we're kind of halfway there, I would say. I'm kind of halfway there, I would say. I see the pieces of the puzzle that are coming forward. I want to be able to take true vacation at work. Both of us should.
Right.
Me being fully offline. Not that we don't, let me rephrase. It's not that we don't take time off. We do take time off, but we running the company are mostly on, to make sure that the company is running.
Accessible. I wouldn't say
accessible.
But accessible.
Just accessible.
Yeah.
It's not like I have been able to go for 3 weeks dark and just gone to New Zealand and just disappeared.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Right. So I want to be able to take time off. What's undeniably true is that we are going to move for a year, at least. And the timing of that is still TBD. I don't know if it's this school year or next school year, but I will be in communication with you every step of the way that I know this. There could be like a 5% chance we're like, never mind. There's learnings every single day. And we're going to go into the particulars of how that gets worked out, of me flying back and doing the podcast. And that I have no doubt about. But something that's undeniably there is the environment that I need to be in this season of my life is not in LA. My soul needs to be in an environment where I have access to space and nature and a home that I can nurture. That's really important to me. I living here and renting my condo and then renting out this and then putting with a new condo and all of this movement, I don't feel anchored.
I know.
And I can't feel anchored in this big part of my Georgia peach that's in there that just wants her home to continue to develop in my bathroom to be for me, and a space where I can feel good and not in a different one every time that I can't remodel. It feels too scattered with my space, my environment, and my home. And that was less important than my kids running around a neighborhood. That's what I came upon with my sessions with Laurel, of something that's undeniably true is I want my soul is craving something that LA cannot give me, even if I have the money.
Totally.
Can't give it to me in this season. And I freaking love this town. I am not a person that's like, I want to get out of this shithole. I don't believe that. The food is amazing here. The weather's amazing here. I have built my family here, raised my kids in a 900 square foot condo. I only started feeling this friction the last 3 years. I didn't feel that before. You remember when I was like, ugh, we're in the condo and we have no space and da-da-da. Anyway, that has come up of undeniably true. Something else that has come up that's undeniably true that I worked on with Laurel a bit is that my purpose here at Source and the desire I have to keep going is the strongest it's ever been. I know. Sorry, Raph. Sorry, Raph. Living with an entrepreneur sucks. It sucks. I know. I know that. It's the strongest that it's ever been. And that's why I get so emotional about moving because this part of being connected to my purpose, Source is not a job for me.
I know.
This isn't a job. I'm not connected to a job. I don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. This is, and I'm a poof person. When I don't want to do this, you will know. Now I won't poof away, but I will give 6 months, a year, and go, hey, I'm ready to hang it up and slow down. That is not what I'm feeling. I feel the opposite of that in a ginormous way. And the ginormous, this is why she's
technically speaking.
And what's also undeniably true is I would like to design our business to account for both of us. I think you included in here, to have ample amount of time to enrich for me the motherhood chapter of being at their practice, being fully there, being able to wash their jerseys. This is so specific, but in peace, and being able to do the kind of more motherhood duties with a bit more joy rather than hurrying through them so I can work. And it's not because, let me be clear, it's not because I feel like, oh, I have to work so I can't do this. That isn't the setup. It's I'm not able to sit and enjoy this because I care a lot about my work, because that is what's going on for me. And now I care a lot about the motherhood piece. The first 5 years, I don't know if I said this last week, but the first 5-7 years of my kids' existence wasn't that fun for me. I didn't enjoy it quite as much. I almost loved going to work every day because it was an escape from how chaotic and crazy and pulling on me and all of these things. But now I have these two humans that I just am obsessed with hanging out with and doing their homework and talking about crushes and having best friends necklaces with my daughter and going to Jelena with her, which is a restaurant that's in Venice that if I move, I can never go to again. So I want these two to stay very alive. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to work it yet. Mm-hmm. And that's why I have many more sessions on the books with my coach. And coaches get coaches, by the way. It's very important for us also to be clear that the same thing that we were talking about earlier about us being experts and don't I know this? And I need a lot of support still. So that's what I'm working on next. I don't know the undeniability of the constellation and if it's possible. There's a fear that it's not possible still, and that's what I'm working with, that I can't have both of those fully lit up because the journey of the entrepreneur is only for those who fully dedicate themselves to this. That's a narrative. if you do not fully dedicate yourself to being an entrepreneur and running a company and everything else is on a dimmer, it was easy to put my social life on a dimmer. I didn't like that much. But now there's something over here. It is. It was easy for me to turn multiple light switches off and have our baby be my sole focus. And now I have 2 sole focuses. And I don't know if my mind believes that that's possible. So your fear of me checking out, it's not out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
There is a part of me that wonders is it just easier for me to cut it out and just, fully dedicate myself to the motherhood journey? After one session with Laurel, we noticed that wasn't the case. Because it's undeniably true that I'm not stopping at source. And I that will crush me in my soul.
Well, I think the phrasing of like, what's your soul focus?
Yeah.
SOLE versus SOUL.
Right.
And I think the reason why working on source feels life-giving is because it's our SOUL. It's our soul focus. In regenerative, this isn't, our personal lives are not separate from our business lives. So it is just not ever going to be compartmentalized like we maybe used to think we had to do life. Now we know that actually life doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
That you actually have to unsilo these aspects.
Yeah.
And that's just what you're doing. You're living it.
I'm living it. And when I do that, so the next time we meet, what I'm going to be working on in my commitment is, how can I unsilo and not upset people because I'm too much? Because my life has a lot of things, and I'm moving here, and then I've got to go to my kids' thing here. I think that if I design the life that will be the most nourishing for me, it might not work for the rest of the people involved, you included. How can I sit here and say that I need 12 weeks off and not have a fear of no, that's a jump.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I'm working on now, is the fear associated with my life design and the desires of hours and commitment, that I'm not working hard enough on the business that it deserves. And I'm not available enough. And that is going to cause harm to the company. And that's really not my intention.
I know.
So then it feels, I better dip out because I can't be the entrepreneur that Source deserves.
But when
that's
when you step in as, again, a creator, so it's like, oh, I'm actually architecting all of this. If I want all of this to align, then it's a design issue.
Mm-hmm. It's a design issue.
Which then also backs into forecasts and how many launches at the back. And guess who's in the driver's seat of that?
Yeah, me.
So it's like,
I know.
So then it's like, oh yeah, you do have the power to create, be a masterful creator here.
Yeah, I know. And I have such a hard time with receiving in general, but receiving accommodation, when people have to accommodate for my life, that's when I start to get hot. Like, no, I'm good. No, we don't have to. I'll be there. But when people have to, make accommodations or alterations, there's a fear or there's a line that comes up all the time of enough, chin up, just, figure that out. No,
suck it up.
Suck it up. Yeah, suck it up. You're not going to have that many accommodations. That's not how the real world is. You need to choose. And that, I know all these things are false. So, long way to say it, that's what I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
The move is coming. We will move for a year. That is news that is upon us. There's a slight chance we pull a parachute out of that, but I'm working with it with my husband, and we've talked for 1,000 hours in 1,000 years about this. And then how can I design this next phase of my life and the business that's going to fortify me personally, but us financially at source. On the business side, this is calling me forward to my last edge, which is speaking what I feel to be true for the business with keeping a heart for what it is that we want to do. It's this weird oscillation that I'm going through of making business case and marketing and how we got to attract in and who and we're launching with these 2 giant companies this year. And this is what me speaking in that language sometimes feels like I'm going against some of the heart of the matter. So I'm just trying to resolve that and keep it really honest.
Yeah.
And it's not comfortable.
Yeah. And trust yourself to the process. Because it's reshaping you.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's on the soul line. That's exactly what's supposed to be happening.
I know.
You know, it's like we are giving birth to a new way. And there's a lot of shedding.
I know.
There's a lot of shedding happening.
I know.
Just so you know, in my body, as you speak it now, there's no reactivity. So there's just something has been cleared in you and me, frankly, around this potential move where I feel you giving me space to be in my experience. I feel you taking time to reconcile any of the black and whiteness.
That was very present before.
And then it's like, oh, okay, then cool. Like, because who knows? Maybe where you move to is where I moved to. LA is interesting.
I know.
It's not, I'm craving nature big time.
I know.
We don't know. Well, I don't even know where you're going.
I know. We are, the potential right now is for another topic, but Boise, Idaho is the topic, and we don't have enough time today to go into my thoughts and my feelings around the state versus the city versus politically versus not versus this. It's a very layered conversation, but I need to get out into an environment that feels nurturing to two very big parts of me. And that's what I'm going to do.
It's worth taking a leap on.
It is.
You know, it's worth it.
It is.
And I'm not worried so much about if you can come in here and declare, as you declared, like you feel the aliveness here.
Oh, yeah.
That this is life-giving for you.
Oh, yeah.
Then I know it's all figure-outable. My reaction was more like, I want to acknowledge that we affect each other. And there was a part of you that
I wish
didn't
we
want
didn't.
that.
I know.
Didn't want that to happen. And it's like, no, we affect each other. We're in relationship.
Yep. And that has been my edge my whole life.
Because you then all of a sudden felt like if I got upset based on your choice, then you were responsible for my feelings. And it was like, no,
100%.
But I want to be able to feel my feelings.
And you are totally spot on.
And you have every right to live the life of deep resonance.
Yes.
Because that will serve the whole.
So the connecting to others piece it's really difficult for me to hold contrasting experiences while I can have my own. And that I think is going to free me up so much if I can move through this and be able to stand forward with clarity and let other people have the space to react how they want to react. And it doesn't mean that I did something wrong.
Correct.
And that is something that is really difficult for me to move into because I always think things are my fault. Any little tiny mistake is I did it wrong. It must have been me. I have a fear of failure. That's my biggest one. So for the next couple of weeks, and my energy status, by the way, is also a recover. So we're recover buddies. And I've had 2 in the last 3 days. So Jess and I are both in need. And I think it's time. We've launched 2 incredible cohorts this last week. And next week, I think we'll get a little bit more space on it too. And we got our tools in order for us to do that. But my commitments over the next couple of weeks is just to continue to crystallize what's undeniably true, to be able to voice that to everybody without getting it perfect and knowing that it will be okay.
Yeah.
And not pulling away because I can't do it right. So then I just pull away. I'm going to lean in and just be messy with it and know that receiving and being accommodated for and being I'm not a problem for it all. Which is something that I worked through a lot of, just so much pressure that I put on myself. I think that, there's just a lot of, if I do this, then this happens. If I do this, then this happens. There's so much black and white that's still built in my system of consequences for what I do. And so for me, it's really going to be, and I'm going to have Laurel by my side too with this of, no, I'm very much in this. I'm very much in this at Source, and I'm very much in this in my motherhood. And there's no reason that the design of my life will not, there's no reason to believe that it won't help at all. The company and me, because what doesn't help it is me being afraid to make any sort of move because I'm afraid of what might happen, what my parents might think, what Jessica might think, what the Source might do. Now, my move and my choices are so affecting everyone. Why does everybody care about me? I just want to hide. It's like, they don't. It's just your choices affect things. All of our choices affect each other.
All the time.
In the world.
Your non-choice affects things. So it's just getting comfortable in the interconnectedness
which is my edge.
Life. Yeah, it's like no matter what.
Which is my edge.
Yeah.
Me and my little
silo. Listen, I would 100% all day long, without question, rather be in the mess of it with you
me
than to somehow you present like you have a perfect hold, but then I feel you disappearing inside of yourself.
It's 100%.
So, I mean, let's just continue to let it be really messy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to be in the goo of it.
And again, it will be in service. If it's coming from this deep place,
it is.
This is what's emerging.
Yeah.
And it isn't just emerging for you. It's emerging for many.
And for you.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I'm going to commit to.
Brilliant.
Did I highlight my edges?
I think so. I think we got them in there.
There's a shape shift happening in my life that is just, it's uncomfortable to move through, especially being interconnected with you, my parents, my families, my friends, their teachers. And all I want to do is just go, I moved, right? Everyone's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
yeah.
teleported and it's the same.
Right.
And that is just isn't life.
No, yeah. You got to allow the whole thing to change with you.
Exactly.
You got to let it calibrate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And give space and time for other people to calibrate and have feelings around it all.
Yeah.
And me being there to hold space for that.
Yeah.
Then take it as offense, me leaning in and say, I understand.
Yeah.
And really hear people. That is something that I haven't historically been good at.
How beautiful.
So great.
Well done. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for joining this heartfelt episode of the Practice Podcast. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye.